Y'alls, this is Zoes the Peacemaker. I said Zoes like as it was plural. I don't even know what that means. Welcome to our 10th episode. Yay! That's a mile marker. We are on the 10th episode of Love and Fear. Let me get a printout for you guys. Take a screenshot of that. Pow. We have been going down the list. I promised 22 episodes, and I could do at least that many. Let's see. What should we talk about today? Today we're going to talk about clarity. Pow. Isn't that funny? Because I was unclear about what I was going to talk about. Anyways, ironic, right? Clarity versus being unclear or lost. Many times in our lives do we feel lost. We don't know what to do. And it oftentimes, depending on who you are, we turn to our parents, we turn to our loved ones, we turn to videos like this. Some of us pray. Some of us do positive affirmations. Some of us we look at our astrology. There's just a myriad. Google your issues. There's just a myriad of ways to get clear or find answers available to us today in this day and age. From personal experience, I can tell you that I don't like it when I'm not totally clear. Maybe it's that human need to know everything. Maybe it's that natural fear of the unknown. When I am unclear, I don't know how I don't know what the situation is really consisting of. I don't know what I'm up against. So I feel like sometimes that might make me a little uneasy. And maybe you guys out there in YouTube, Facebook land, whenever I'm clear, no matter how dire the situation, I feel like I can handle it because I know what the parameters are. I know what I have to do, and I know what I can't do. If something is just completely out of my hands and I'm 100% clear about it, then I can just sort of let it go and put it into fate's hands or the universe's hands, whatever you want to call it, God's hands, whatever you believe in. I can just sort of let that be handled by, people that can handle it. If it's above my pay grade, then great. I'll handle what I can handle and I'll leave the rest to the universe. Clarity. Clarity has a lot to do with being connected, I feel like, to sometimes to a higher source. I feel like, we talked about all these other places to get clarity, to get advice, and they're not bad, but there's many people that believe that, our source has all of our answers and we have a connection to source and we can access that at any time. And what's cool about that is that, I truly honestly believe that we have our own answers, that we always have our own answers. And it's nice to get outside perspective. Don't get me wrong. In fact, it's really important sometimes because we might, if we're in our head and we're just doing the whole loop thing where we're just looping through something over and over again and expanding it, making it bigger than it really is. Or if we're just in our ego about something, then of course it's really nice to get some feedback. However, you can always go to source, or you can always ask yourself if you're operating from love or fear, and you'll get clear right away. If I don't feel good about something, if I'm I'm frustrated or I'm angry or I'm sad or I feel disconnected right now, those are all indicators that something gets to be looked at or changed or fixed. I think a lot of the time we want to take the accountability off of ourselves and put it into somebody else's hands and be like, oh, well, my therapist or my shaman or my friend or my mom or dad or Google says this is the truth. And at the end of the day, like, nobody has your truth but you. You know, even if I've said it multiple times, even if like Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad, whoever you believe in, whoever your hero is, mine's Gandhi. Like, if one of them came down from the sky and was like, okay, this is what you need to do. Here's all of your truths. I would say, thank you for the feedback, but, you know, I'm going to do this my way, or I'm going to follow my path. That's probably what I would say. I'm going to follow my perfect path, because even with all of their wisdom, it's not their life that is on the line. It's like, it's my life. It's my decisions. I'm the one who has to pay the consequences if whether I'm right or I'm wrong. The problem with putting our fate in somebody else's hands is like, if they're wrong, then we have to blame them, and then we can blame them, and then we lose our accountability. Or if they're right, we give away our power to somebody else and say, well, they know how to run my life, but I don't. And I'm sure this shows up in like relationships, codependent relationships. I'm sure this shows up at work. This shows up on an interpersonal and an external way. So when it comes to clarity, well, one of the tools that I teach is specifically designed to teach people how to get clear about a situation they don't feel good about, or maybe not necessarily not good about, but maybe they just want some answers. And I teach people to identify the issue. Number one, what is the issue? 9 times out of 10, the issue is not the issue. It's some sort of underlying issue. That the issue is something that triggered an emotion or an experience or a memory from the past. It's never really about the story, because every story is different, and there's 2 and 3 and 4 sides to every story. What's really important is the energy. Like, am I frustrated with this, or am I in acceptance of this? Am I willing to move through this, like through forgiveness? Am I willing to forgive? Am I willing to be courageous and power through this and, you know, fix this thing? Or am I just stuck? Am I just completely afraid? Not willing to move forward, either out of fear or out of being stubborn and stuck. So then I teach people to get in touch with that emotion, because that's usually the root, and it's usually connected to some old memory of growing up. So we release the energy, and then we can transmute the energy, which is basically alchemy, into something positive. Because imagine if you could take all of the lead bricks, and I call them lead bricks, all of the issues and negative energy that you have about personal experiences in your life. Imagine you could take all of those lead bricks, which mine would probably be a mountain, right? And you could turn them into gold. This is what alchemy is. And if you could turn all those lead bricks into gold, somebody with like the hardest life would have the most amount of knowledge. They'd have the most amount of abundance. It would be the richest man on earth, right? So when we use alchemy to transfer our negative energy into our positive energy, yes. Where was I? Oh yeah, alchemy. Anyways, so then I teach people to create a space or come at the same issue using the opposing energies. If somebody's feeling frustration, then the opposite of that is peace or forgiveness. If somebody's feeling jealousy, then the opposite of that is trust. If somebody is feeling less than, or if they're feeling like they're not being respected, then the opposite of that is respect and honor and being cherished. And so you can look at very easily and quickly. You know, it's not rocket science. And there's not even anything spiritual about it. It's just common sense. It's a tool. It uses truth. And it uses the energy that we have at hand. And that's why it's such an effective method. And I call it the Peacemaker Method. So by approaching the same exact issues with the new energy, with the love-based energy, We change our reality, and based on quantum physics, like anything we put our attention on changes shape. It changes form from a wave to a particle. What's that all about? I don't know, but what it tells me is that our consciousness and our attention is extremely powerful and extremely important, and it's part of this universe for a reason. And if I can consciously project positive energy onto everything in my life, then I can essentially change my reality to whatever I want it to be. And my life is a result of that. I was born without tools. I had everything against me you could imagine. We were poor growing up. We had a pretty violent household. I wasn't the smartest kid in schools. I was like a straight D student. I was in the principal's office all the time. I got beat up. I was a bully, but I was also bullied. I was like bottom of the food chain kind of kid in school. Braces, glasses, acne. And then I had like a drug problem by the time I was like 15 years old. So if you could take everything ever and stack it against a human being, and that person overcome those things and find peace in their life to the point where they can actually teach to others, that's a miracle. I may not, I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a boat and a yacht and all that stuff, but that's only one measure of health is finance. If you want to measure health, you have to measure it in all different ways, like physical health and mental health and emotional health and spiritual health and financial health and environmental health. What is your environment? Is your environment healthy? Are your relationships healthy? And all of these things interact with the physical body. The physical body is like the hub or the intersection of all these things. So when you ask yourself, am I healthy? You got to look at all the different aspects of health. And in most of those aspects, I'm doing very well. I'm at a place that I'm happy. I'm not, if I were to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 on all of those things, I'm not at a 10 on all of those things. But the fact that A, I'm not in jail, B, I'm alive, and C, I'm happy, D, I have a beautiful relationship, and I live, E, and I live my purpose every day. My job is to make people happy and help them see their authentic self and see that they are angels. And, I help people get clean. I help people fix their relationships. I help people find self-confidence and get connected to nature and get connected to spirit. So, am I living the Trump life? No, but that's not necessarily what I want. What I want is peace and to be happy and a roof over my head and food. And that's pretty much it. I'm a simple guy. With appreciation, I can be happier than Trump. I don't have people trying to sue me every day and screw me over, and I don't have to. There's a lot of things that those guys, a lot of people want to be these quadbillionaires, but they have no idea how many caveats come with living that lifestyle and being that person, maintaining that stuff. And at the end of the day, you die, nothing goes with you, and you got to ask yourself, was I truly happy the whole time? So being honest about what you're feeling in the emotion, identifying the issue, measuring yourself on 7 different scales of health, being connected to source, of course, and bouncing your ideas. It's okay to be vulnerable and share your feelings with the right people, obviously. Share your feelings and your situations with loved ones. I challenge you to be vulnerable one time this week and tell somebody, this is what I'm feeling, and this is why. And see if that opens something up in your relationship and creates some clarity for you. A lot of time, just talking about something creates clarity, especially with women. Guys, here's a tip for you. Don't coach your girlfriend or wife, man. Don't give them advice. I'm serious. Just listen. Just talk. Just let them talk and just go, yes, yes, I'm listening. And really listen, because if they ask you, are you listening? You have to repeat it. Be like, yeah, I was listening. And if they're like, well, why aren't you saying anything? All mad. Just be like, I'm holding space. I learned from Peacemaker, this new tool. It's called holding space. It means I'm just letting you talk right now. I'm just respecting it. I'm not trying to give you any advice. I'm just giving you room to vent and talk. Because women are like the stenographer machine, the court, that little typewriter, and every single word that goes from their head comes out their mouth. And men, we're like a cash register. You type a bunch of numbers in and it just sits there until you hit enter, and then a total comes out the bottom. That's how men are. We process and gestate, and a million things will go through our head just like a woman's, but everything that goes through the woman's head will come out her mouth. And a man will like add it up and subtract and go, this is it. Here's the issue. Here's how I feel. So women, give your man time to process. Give him 10 minutes or 2 minutes or something. Don't get in his face and be like, yo, I need to know what you're thinking right this second. Because guess what? We are monkeys, We are like, half the time we don't know what we're thinking or feeling. And we have to like weed through this whole, all of our, the book, the dictionary, and all of the stuff, amount of information that's going through our head at the time, the stuff we're thinking and the stuff you're saying and feeling. Like, we need to do the cash register thing. So guys, hold space so the girl can do the typewriter stenographer deal, and they will work out their own problems. I swear to God, by the end, hello fly, by the time they're done and they're just spent, they'll feel satisfied. And if you don't listen, they'll say it all again. So save yourself the trouble and just let them talk. And women, let men do the cash registering. Let us process, let us add, subtract, and come up with a total that's going to work for you. Clairty is awesome, and it helps. Clairty helps when, sometimes it has to do with, is your blood clear? Meaning, are you filling your body with drugs and alcohol? I'm not saying this is wrong, but I'm saying you can't get clear with your life when you're messed up all the time or recovering from last weekend. It's really hard to process your life when you are just like poisoning yourself, essentially. I know from personal experience, from doing it from age 13 to 30, hardcore, like every day. Okay. So no judgment there, but if you want to get clear, dude, getting clean is usually a pretty good start. I think that's it for today. I think I'm feeling pretty clear. Subscribe to my channel, like if you like, comment, share. Keep an eye out for my events. I do events like vibration. I teach classes on vibration. I teach classes on, I'm going to have some about essential oils. I'm going to have some about crystals. I'm going to be teaching classes on neo-shamanism. I am a neo-shaman. All sorts of fun stuff. And it's all 101. Like, I try to keep it simple. There's a lot of people that teach like super complicated 7th dimensional stuff, and like, God bless them. I love that stuff, but I don't feel like teaching it, because my talent is for assisting people who are first starting to look into metaphysics, like closet spiritualists that are afraid that they might look weird, if they start doing yoga or meditating. Like, those are specifically the people, I'm like half homeboy, half snowboarder, half hippie shaman guy. I live kind of on both sides of the fence. So I have a talent for making things that look really weird and hard to understand very simple and inviting. And I really like working with people that are first getting into the space, because, spirituality, it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. And that's very sacred to me. That's not something I'm going to teach on a YouTube video, that is very intimate space for me. And before we start talking about spirituality and 4th and 5th and 6th dimensional beings, let's talk about treating each other like, humans or angels instead of like animals first. It's really funny when people want to come up to me and talk to me about, so what do you think about 5th dimensional beings and channeling and talking to? And I'm like, well, I think that stuff's awesome. But if your relationships are broken, if you're not living the life that you want, if you're preaching about love and then you go home and beat your wife or your dog or your whatever, like, you don't have any business like teaching that stuff. We need to learn the basics, and that's being a decent human species first, and then start talking about angelic connection and what you think God and I think God and all that looks like and acts like second. I think once we stop acting like animals and start acting like the angels that we truly are, then we can start to graduate to some of the higher things. So, and that's the process that I take people through in my classes. It can be very dangerous to teach people tools for manifestation and tools for changing and bending reality if they don't first learn the difference between creating from love and creating from fear. So that's common sense to me. Those are my philosophies. Take it or leave it. I love you. You love me. We're a happy galactic family. What up? Namaste. Inner peace out.